Going inside Memorial Sports, this is the Panther Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back in my mushy brain that's drinking a lot of Gatorade for a good reason this week. I said Jason Cooper was going to be here. Jason Cooper, if he's listening, is probably in a panic right now. He's probably, I don't want to get him in any trouble. It's actually CJ Villegas is here. I should have remembered that I try to mix it up with boys and girls coaches on this, and it's gotten a little out of sync, but this is District 5 4A boys night because Coach Wagner was here, you're here, and Parker Hicks comes in right after you. So you can give Jason a hug when you see him. Tell him I'm sorry that I said it about we were talking about him because of his former assistant as a Monterey coach, and a couple of pretty good players were here from Monterey. So
and when you mentioned that when I was walking in, it's big shoes to fill.
Yes.
If I'm having to replace Coach Cooper for tonight, but you might have lost some viewers, some listeners out there, but that's all good.
What that really means is it means I'm going to have to talk more because when Jason's here, I don't have to. All I've got to do is just kind of open it up and he goes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He knows I love him. You touched on something there, though. Coaching with a guy who's done it for a while and he's had success at different levels, and you've coached for a while too, but I've gotten to know you a little bit. You love to learn.
Absolutely.
As you go. Fun is not the right word, but you coached against Tony Wagner the other night.
Absolutely, yeah.
And he talked about after the game, he talked about it after his Level-Land game about coaching against you young guys and how that's kind of invigorated him a little bit because he's got to understand there's a little bit of a chess match. Coaching with Jason, coaching against Coach Wag and some of the other coaches you do, how much does that help you as a coach?
Number one, that's I will say that was something that was definitely intriguing about the position is because I knew what we were kind of going to get into. There's good players.
There we go. Brendan went straight to the cord and unplugged it.
It's all good. Are we still on?
Yes, we're good.
It's just that was something that was intriguing is out in this area. I don't care what classification you're in, 1A through 6A. When you get out in West Texas, there's good players, good coaches, good teams, good programs, and so that was definitely intriguing. And then obviously when they announced the girls coordinator / girls coach, that obviously we have to share gym spaces
right.
and things like that, so we have to work together. When I found out that it was Coach Cooper, I think I was probably the first one to kind of reach out to him and number one, congratulate him on the job, and then also I did that just because simply I knew that it was going to be I felt like it was going to be a good relationship that we could start and form. We talk basketball almost daily, and I think we've talked about this before, but there's times that we have to get away from each other during the school day because we'll sit there and talk basketball all day, and so that part's been fun. It's been cool to listen to and learn and some of the experiences and stuff that he's had. If I have a question, he's usually the first one that I go to.
You had never actually coached with him, but I'm going to assume where you guys had been, you probably had at least crossed paths a time or two.
Yes, sir, absolutely. And obviously just being a basketball coach and a fan, and I've been fortunate enough I was selected, president of our TABC, which is our basketball organization, and I work with THSCA as well, which is our coaching organization, as a basketball advisory chairman. And so you see the names and faces pop up, quite a bit, and you see the successes that they've had also as coaches, and so if you don't know anything about them, you know that they're really good coaches because just about everywhere that they've gone, they win. And they do that with different teams and different programs.
The only thing he didn't do to help you was wait a little bit longer to have his son, because then he could have been a Memorial Panther.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Instead, you've had to coach against him at least once, and you may get to see him a few more times.
Yeah, and that's tough because he's a good player, and so that basketball IQ is something that is it's hard to coach against when guys are smart and they know what to do and how to do it on the court, and then he's got a little skill set behind him as well. So, but it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be a fun matchup, and again, it's something that it's important to Coach Cooper, and it's important to us as well. So, I think it's going to be really cool to see.
You got a good group of guys you're coaching now. Last week was a little rough. First time you've lost back-to-back games since I think early in the season. Lost to Estacado, good game until about the fourth quarter, and then went on the road and lost to Lakeview, which you spent some time in San Angelo, so you kind of know that Lakeview's, to me, it's always been I actually texted with Jason about this. It's always stunned me that both those schools can't be good at just about everything because there's two big schools in town, but their basketball team, their boys basketball team is better. You guys took a loss there. Let's leave it at that because we're going to talk about this week coming up because you got a big one right off the bat tomorrow. So we'll be back talking more Panther basketball in the Panther Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score.
This is the Panther Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score. Welcome
back in. It's the Panther Fan Zone. There's some sort of siren going off here. Brendan's trying to make me nervous. If I don't know if when you were the year you spent at Friendship at their football home games, part of their pregame is they turn the siren thing on at People's Bank Stadium. And once last year the weather was kind of threatening, and they turned that thing on, and I was like, wait a minute, I'm a Kansas dude. When you hear that siren, you're like, something's going on.
Yeah, something's going on. Let's get out of here.
And there's people who are like, no, that's just part of our pregame.
Yeah.
So Brendan's making me nervous back there. I'm a little bit jumpy anyway because of all the Gatorade I'm having to ingest here. So, Brendan, don't scare an old man, please. You guys, I mentioned last week you lost 2 in a row, and it had been a while since you did that. I asked you right before you came on how your guys were handling it. And you said they're doing fine with it, which they're young.
Yes, sir.
They're freshmen and sophomores, which is maybe that's a built-in advantage. When you get a little bit older, you want your guys to kind of that to bother them a little bit.
Absolutely.
You want losses to. I mean, it's not the end of the season. It's not the end of the world. Ambrosia Cole, who was just here, her assistant coach said that she's finally got her to understand that it's okay to have fun when you're a high school basketball player. So you want that part, but coaches probably I'm going to guess you and Coach Gomez, it's bothered you a little bit more than them, and now you get to go. I act like this is a big privilege, and it is. You get to go down the road and play at Liberty tomorrow, which I think if I saw the TABC rankings, they stayed at number 10. Very good team, and they've bounced back from a loss a little bit. How do you make sure you guys just go have fun in this one and don't get uptight? Because this is another one of those built-in rivalry games.
Obviously, when you have an opponent like tomorrow night, Friday night's game is long gone.
Yep.
The sun came up on Saturday morning, but that game's long gone. But when you have an opponent like tomorrow, you're not necessarily looking for what happens at the end of the fourth quarter. In order to get to that moment, though, you need to do what you can in the first quarter, and then try it again in the second quarter. Get into halftime, make your adjustments. The things that you're doing well, continue to try to do those things and put yourselves in that situation. The things that you need to work on or something that they're doing to you, you kind of just make that adjustment and battle in the third quarter, and then battle again in the fourth quarter. So I think it's no different than any other thing that we've talked about. I think I mentioned this off air, but just being the youth of our team. When you talk about guys, taking it game by game, our guys have done a decent job of that. We've thrown a lot at them when district competition has started, just because there's so much involved. And when you talk about the coaches side of things, we know how extremely important each possession is, and offensively and defensively. So, that's, I guess, our approach. Obviously tomorrow is when the game starts. Let's do what we can to try to go win the first quarter, and then when the second quarter pops up, we'll do what we can to try to go win the second quarter, and so on and so on. Especially when you're playing a good team like that, I don't think you can. There's 100 different things that we could probably write down on what we need to do really well, especially versus a team like Liberty. But in all honesty, too, that's going to be super difficult to get accomplished. And so, you got to put a few goals down together and a few things that you feel like will give you success and make your team successful. And you got to try those things. But I think it starts before the game. I think it just starts to talking to them about quarter by quarter. I think is important.
I loved when your volleyball team played Liberty. Liberty was ranked number 1, and Whitney. There was a quote from her afterwards, and there was a picture. She said she couldn't stop smiling after the match, and they got beat. But she said, "This is what I want our girls to understand, that this is where we can be. This is as we can
Absolutely.
be here
Absolutely.
next year, the year after.
Absolutely.
And to me, that's the same thing with your guys. Now, we'll go back to Jason. Jason's already he's already put that bar up there pretty high for everybody because he just went ahead and beat Liberty the first time they played.
Yes, sir.
But you, young, old, whatever, Liberty went through what went a few years ago. They lost some games. You guys are actually, Parker's coming on here, may be mad when I say this. You guys have handled your first season a little bit better than they did. And you see where they're at now. Your guys, they can look and say, hey, that's us.
Absolutely. And I mean, our kids, when I say our, I mean Liberty's kids and Memorial's kids. Nobody's going to know our situation better, right, than Liberty's kids. And obviously we've talked about, Morgan's a family friend of my wife's, and so they've talked about it before because she understands some of the things that we're going through, and obviously when we talk about the relationship with Coach Cooper, that's something that we visit about daily as well as our kids, and I think it's. Again, when you look at tomorrow's matchup, nobody's going to know our situation any better. And so.
And you can't go to the ATM or Walmart and buy experience. It's just something that has to happen.
Absolutely.
That is 7:30, 7:45 tomorrow at Liberty, part of a doubleheader. It's going to be a fun night out there in South Lubbock County. We'll be back right after this break if Parker will come in now after I said that, and we'll talk Patriot basketball on 100.7 The Score.